Hello, and welcome to my weekly podcast, which I call Through the Bible in 10 Years. And this is Pentecost Sunday, 2020, as I video and record the podcast for Revelation chapter 5. So last week we were in Revelation chapter 4, where we get the windows of heaven are open, and we get to see the throne room of God, where God is worshipped God the Father is worshipped in Revelation 4. Then after Revelation 4, we go to Revelation 5, where we get to see the Lamb, Jesus, the Son of God. And so we pick up Revelation chapter 5 with verse 1. I'm also, if you're doing the video version, I'm following interlinearbible.org or biblehub.com/interlinear. Okay, and I saw, John the Revelator, and I saw at the right hand of the one sitting upon the throne, I saw a scroll having been written both inside and on the back. This type of scroll, by the way, was not very common. It's called an epistograph because it's written on the front and the back. Typically, scrolls were only written on one side. So this is a very full scroll, an unusual scroll. It reminds me of how the living creatures had eyes everywhere. God sees everything, and the truth is everywhere. So this book, this scroll, and actually scroll, it's not really a book. A book form, we have a book form, where have you ever made a book? So I've occasionally made a liturgy for a worship service, and you have both the first page and the last page on the outer leaf, right? And you fold it together and you staple it, and then fold it together. But this is the day of a scroll. They weren't using books as we use books. They had scrolls that you roll up. And so the word is biblion here, but it's talking about a scroll. So John sees a scroll that's written on the front and the back, having been sealed and still sealed with 7 seals. Now, the purpose of a seal was usually there was some sort of a insignia or whatever on the seal that made it clear that this was authentic. And of course, if it's sealed, it's not tampered with. So the 7 seals suggest completeness. The sealing suggests that it's authentic and authoritative. And it may suggest here that it is not to be opened until the appropriate time, right? Because not just anybody should break these sorts of seals, as we're going to see. Verse 2, and I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a great voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and to break its seals?" Verse 3, and no one was able in the sky, in the heaven, nor upon the earth, nor under the earth, that is the dead, to open the scroll, nor to see it. This is quite astounding. No one can be found who is worthy and appropriate to open the scroll. Verse 4, and I saw, and I was weeping much, because no one was found to be worthy to open the scroll, not even to see it. So this is a sad situation. We have nobody in the universe who is worthy to open the scroll. Verse 5, and one of the elders says to me, "Don't weep, don't cry, wait for it, not yet. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has conquered, the Root of David, to open the scroll and its 7 seals." So this is a very strong picture. The Lion of Judah, which reminds us of the blessings that Jacob gave to his sons, including Judah. Judah was his, I think, 4th son, if I remember correctly. And Judah was given, of course, the blessing in Genesis the prediction that from Judah would come, of course, the kings. And of course, from the tribe of Judah was David. And Jesus is the root of David, as we find out in the genealogy of Matthew chapter 1. And so one of the elders basically says to John, wait, we're not done yet. There is somebody who's worthy, and he's a lion. Now, this is what's interesting, is because when Jesus appears, he does not appear in lion form. How does he appear? He appears as a lamb. So there is strength in his weakness, which of course is a Pauline theme, that when I am weak, then I am strong. Okay, verse 6. And I saw in the midst of the throne, and in the midst of the four living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, I saw a lamb standing as if it had been slain and was still slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God. Again, they relate especially to the 7 churches to whom the book of Revelation is written, but of course, this would apply to all the churches of God. Having the 7 spirits that have been sent out in all the earth. And the Lamb came, and he took it out of the right hand of the one sitting on the throne. That is, out of the hand of God the Father. By the way, I have Van Eyck's late 1400 painting behind me with the Lamb of God behind me, if you're watching the video form. So the Lamb came and took the scroll, verse 8, and when he received the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders, they fell down before the Lamb. Let angels prostrate fall. They fall down before Christ the Lamb, each having a harp and bowls, golden bowls that were full of incenses, which are the prayers of the saints. This is a nice little symbolic clue. There is the altar of incense, of course, in the tabernacle, the Old Testament tabernacle, and in the heavenly tabernacle, there are the incenses of the prayers of the people of God that reach, the prayers of the saints, of the holy ones. Verse 9, and they are singing a new song, singing, worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Anyway, worthy are you to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain, and you purchased for God and hath redeemed us to God by his blood. Anyway, has bought for God by his blood. Who is he bought? From every tribe and tongue and people group, nation. So again, there is no discrimination on God's part between people from different parts of the world. There is no nationality that has some sort of intrinsic advantage before God. Being an American doesn't matter at all to God, not a bit. Being a German doesn't matter at all to God. Being from Africa doesn't matter, because people from every tribe and tongue and people and nation are all, there's no favoritism with God. Verse 10, and you have made them for our God a kingdom and priests, and they will reign upon the earth. Very clear in the book of Revelation, and actually this is fairly clear in most of the New Testament, that eternity is not, I grew up thinking of eternity as being in heaven. That's not really what the New Testament says by and large. Now, there are some passages that could be interpreted that way. The Gospel of John, there are some passages in the Gospel of John that could be taken that way. But by and large, the New Testament pictures eternity being on a new earth, on a renewed earth. And as it says here, they will reign upon the earth. Verse 11, And I saw and I heard the sound of angels, or the voice of angels, of many angels around the throne, and of the living creatures, and of the elders, and the number of them was myriads, 10,000s of 10,000s, and thousands of thousands, saying with a great voice, worthy, this is actually the one I was singing now. I was getting ahead of myself here. The elements were there, but here's where it is. Worthy is the Lamb that has been slain to receive glory and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. Anyway, verse 13. And every creature, every created thing, which was in the sky and upon the earth and under the earth and upon the sea, and all the things that are in them, I heard saying, to the one upon the throne, God the Father, and to the Lamb be blessing and honor and glory and might forever. I think there's a youth song we sang here, honor and glory and be to our God forever and ever, be to our God. Anyway, that's somewhere in here as well. So what is the scene here? Well, it is the ultimate scene, right? Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess before God that he is Lord. And so we have an ultimate picture here. It's a timeless picture, though, too. I mean, just because, in a sense, this hasn't happened yet, but also it's a done deal, right? So I personally don't think we should get hung up on the timing of this, because even though there's a sense in which this will really, really, really take place after the judgment, or after every knee has been brought to confess God as Lord, it is certainly true now that he is Lord. It is certainly true now that the Lamb is worthy. It is certainly true now that the throne room of God is the place where God is worshipped by all. Now, I don't want to. It would be completely out of context and anachronistic to do something with time here, to say that, well, God is in a timeless zone, and therefore, even though in the time realm that I'm in, it hasn't happened yet, it's already happened in the timeless heaven. That may be true, but I'm sure that was not anything that John the Revelator could have comprehended. Just simply wasn't a category, I don't think, of that time. Well, anyway, clearly the important thing is that to the one who sits upon the throne and to the Lamb be blessing and honor and glory and might forever and ever, because God is all in all. Verse 14, and the four living creatures were saying, Amen, and the elders fell and they worshiped. And then some manuscripts have, to the one who lives forever and ever, but probably that's not original. So they're falling down before God the Father and Jesus, I think, and worshiping here. In the previous chapter, I think I've left out some songs that I could have sung, which I know vexes you greatly. So I think probably last week, when we were talking about them, the 24 elders casting their crowns, we probably should have sung "Crown Him with Many Crowns." There are a number of songs, some of which I don't know, that have come out of these chapters here. Another song I missed last week was the verse of Holy, 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 all the saints adore thee, casting down their golden crowns around the glassy sea. So let me get that in under the wire within a 1 week limit. Well, we're done with chapter 5. These two chapters, Revelation 4 and 5, I believe are truly the heart of the book of Revelation, because in 4 and 5, we give the appropriate worship to God the Father and to Jesus, and also the worthiness of Jesus in chapter 5 here is made clear. And because the Lamb is worthy, the judgment can begin. And we'll talk more next week, Lord willing, about the judgment in Revelation 6 when we come next week for Through the Bible in 10 Years.